Hey everybody, what's going on? I am Gregg Sussman, joined today by Jim Sonis of FanDuel, who's here to break down Week 5 and the top stacks you're filling your DFS lineup with. What's going on, Jim?
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting slate this week, Greg, because my process in NFL DFS is just loading up on projected tight, high-scoring games, and there's only one of those on the entire slate for this week. So it definitely forces me to reevaluate some things, try to dig in and find some other games I do like, but it's a little makes me a little skittish for this week. How are you doing?
I actually thought that your plan was just to fill your lineups with players that are playing on Sunday that don't have COVID, which is also a good strategy. And right now, that strategy does begin in Houston, where the Texans at the moment don't have any players infected with COVID, and nor are they infected with Bill O'Brien anymore. Houston lets go of Bill O'Brien, and they begin the next era this weekend at home against Jacksonville. You are buying into the era with Deshaun Watson, with Will Fuller. You are stacking those guys. They are top stack here this week.
Yeah, can a team have a revenge game against its own franchise? Is that like a thing that we can bank on here? But honestly, I'm not expecting things to change too much for Houston here because their offensive coordinator, Tim Kelly, is still in town. And that's a good thing because the Texans rank 4th in early down first half pass rate, according to Sharp Football Stats. That means they're going to throw, and they should throw here because the Jaguars are 32nd against the pass, according to numberFire schedule adjusted metrics. So we should expect the Texans to pass a lot, and they should pass the ball efficiently. And the reason I like stacking this game, even though the spread is kind of wide, is that I'd expect the Jaguars to put up points too because they are also above average in first half early down pass rate. The Texans rank 28th against the pass. This is the only game on the slate featuring two teams in the bottom 10 against the pass based on numberFire's metrics. So I'd expect to see a lot of passes here. And passes are great for DFS because it either stops the clock or gets you yardage through the air. Those are great things for us. So I think this is a pretty good game despite a semi-wide spread at 6.5 points. Not wide for this slate, but for most slates it would be. So I think that Deshaun Watson to Will Fuller, if I have one lineup, I'm probably starting things off there. You can run it back with James Robinson, potentially DJ Chark despite a tough matchup with Bradley Roby, or maybe Laviska Shenault if he gets into full practice on Friday. But I think overall, the Deshaun Watson, Will Fuller stack is one I want to focus on Sunday, given the pass-heavy nature of this team, given the way this game breaks out, and given the matchup they have against Jacksonville.
I think this is a week that the Texans they're going to try to show off the offense a little bit. Deshaun Watson and Will Fuller finally freed of this Bill O'Brien nonsense. It puts them in a good position against Gardner Minshew and the Jags. It's going to be a fun game in the AFC South. And without Bill O'Brien, the offense is going to look a little bit better now that they don't have a genius to worry about. Moving on, we'll get to the Carolina Panthers, who have been rocking right now. This Teddy Bridgewater to Robbie Anderson connection, it has worked throughout the year. The Panthers are facing off against the Atlanta Falcons, of course, a Falcons team that we have targeted week in and week out here on the Hurry Up. And the only question I guess I have, Jim, is why Robbie Anderson over your boy DJ Moore?
Robbie just seems to have the more fantasy friendly role right now. He definitely has a better floor, but his upside is similar to DJ Moore, which is why I want to go with Robbie Anderson here. We're looking at the numbers here with this Panthers team since Christian McCaffrey got hurt. And in that time, Robbie Anderson has 27% of the team's overall targets. He also has 25% of the deep targets. Now, DJ Moore is getting more deep volume, so that upside is still there. We saw him go for $120 against Tampa Bay. He could do that once again this week. So from a ceiling perspective, strictly ceiling, Anderson and Moore are pretty much on equal footing. But the reason I like Robbie Moore is because he's getting targets closer to the line, which gives him a better floor, and he's getting just a lot of targets overall. So if we have a situation where one player has the better floor and both players have the same ceiling, I'm kind of okay taking the guy with the better floor. And as of right now, that is Robbie Anderson. He's had a 99 or more yards in 3 of 4 games so far this year. As far as Teddy goes, he doesn't run. I know he had a touchdown last week, but he's a very awkward, very weird-looking runner. I don't expect him to run this week, but the other path to upside in DFS for quarterbacks is via tight, high-scoring games where you're throwing the ball a ton. This is the only game on the slate that has a high total and a tight spread. So, and I don't want to use Matt Ryan with no Julio Jones. So I think this game actually grades out pretty well for Teddy Bridgewater. It's shaping up as if he'll be pretty popular on Sunday. So if I have one lineup, I'm going to Deshaun Watson over Teddy Bridgewater. But I do think Bridgewater is justifiable in that popularity. So I would say Teddy is a really good play at quarterback. I would stack him with any of Anderson, Moore, or Mike Davis. But if I'm going with just one Teddy stack, it'll be Robbie Anderson, thanks to the floor and upside he has shown this year.
Yeah, if you just look at the schedule, to me, this is the game that stands out as high scoring, mainly because the Falcons are in it. And even if the Falcons get up, you know that they will let their opponents right back in the ballgame, which means Teddy Bridgewater is going to be throwing a lot, we can assume, on Sunday. Both DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson are on the table, but Anderson's been with the preferred option here, with the higher floor, the safer option, and the right option for us here in Week 5 in DFS. Go with Teddy Bridgewater, who will be popular, and Robbie Anderson. Now that we got Bridgewater out of the way, now we can go to something I'm more used to, which is putting in Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott. You know, this combination is something that we can go with each and every week. And while Zeke hasn't necessarily gotten it going thus far, the Giants are a nice recipe to make that happen.
Absolutely. And that's a good thing here for Zeke. And it's the same line of thinking we had for last week. Obviously, the game script didn't play out the way we were expecting. But the good thing about pairing Dak Prescott with Zeke Elliott is that you're going to be getting production no matter what the script may be. If they are trailing, we'll see Dak Prescott go bananas once again. If they're ahead, Zeke should get that volume. Like you said, he hasn't done a whole lot so far this year. There have not been many explosive runs for Zeke. It looks like Tyron Smith may not play once again on Sunday. That's a downgrade for Zeke too. But with the passing game volume he's getting, I honestly don't care too much. And that's a key here for this week, because if we're looking at teams that are heavily favored, you want guys who can get you points on low volume. The way you get that at quarterback is via rushing. Dak Prescott doesn't run a ton, but when he does run, it's almost always in the red zone, which means he can get you those 3 rushing touchdowns that he had back in week 2. So I love that rushing volume for Dak Prescott. And if you want to get points in a hurry at running back, you want to get that via targets. And Zeke is averaging 7.5 targets per game. So if I am not stacking a game that has a tight spread, I want to make sure I'm getting at players who can score me points in a hurry. That means rushing volume for quarterbacks, targets for running backs, and downfield looks for wide receivers. With Dak Prescott and Zeke Elliott, I am checking those respective boxes. So I think they make a lot of sense once again here. If we're talking about just a single entry, I prefer Deshaun Watson over Dak Prescott, but I do think that Dak is really hard to turn away from, even when we take his projected volume down from where it's been the past couple of weeks.
Getting Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott into your lineup is the safe thing to do with the Dallas Cowboys because, well, even though they're not going to get down against the Giants, that means Zeke's going to go off. And I think a lot of people are looking at this game for Dallas as a get-right opportunity. I think that's what you're going to see here with Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott and the Cowboys organization taking it to the New York Giants here on Sunday. A good spot for both Zeke and Dak. That's going to do it for us here on the FanDuel Hurry Up. Jim, I am ready for Week 5, a Week 5 that extends to Tuesday. Let's go, man.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting ride. Hopefully we get no more positives. I know there have been more this morning, so we'll just kind of go with the flow, see what happens, and regroup once again on Monday to wrap it all up.
Wrapping it all up with 3 more games to go. This is what the NFL season has become for us. For Jim Sonis, I'm Gregg Sussman. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Enjoy week number 5, and we'll see you back here next week for another edition of the FanDuel Hurry Up.